Truth here, and it's time for more Otaku Evolution. Be sure to like, subscribe, and contribute to my Patreon. Hey, remember Trigun? Let's talk more about Trigun. Sure, it hasn't been that long since I talked about the 26-episode television series based on Yasuhiro Nightail's manga. It was last year, but something came up more recently that made me want to talk about Trigun again. That is, the trailer to Orange's Trigun Stampede CG anime. When everyone heard there'd be more Trigun anime, we figured it would be a new, more faithful adaptation of Nightail's manga. Instead, the trailer reveals, well, it doesn't seem like it, and Vash looks very different. Orange hasn't revealed many details about the new Trigun anime called Trigun Stampede, except that it's an origin story of sorts. Will it be based on the flashback arc we saw in the manga, or will it have its own twist? Is it set in the manga continuity, the TV shows, or its own? Will it eventually fast forward to the fight with the gung-ho guns, or will it finish with Vash getting his infamous $60 billion bounty? While we're still contemplating it, I figured it would be a good time to cover another piece of Trigun media that has kind of slipped through the cracks in conversation. The 2010 Trigun movie, Badlands Rumble. Badlands Rumble was licensed by Funimation, because Pioneer/Geneon no longer exists, dubbed, and released in select theaters in 2011. It was released on Blu-ray the same year, and a couple of years later it aired on Toonami. And yet somehow, I never saw it until I watched it for this video. I totally missed out on it. It came out 11 years ago, and I'm a Trigun fan. How did I miss out on this? It just slipped through the cracks, I guess. But the question is watching Badlands Rumble even worth it? After the debacle of Babel II Beyond Infinity, did I waste my time with another dull anime? Well, no, not exactly. Badlands Rumble is fluff, but it's brief, enjoyable fluff. Our hero, Vash the Stampede, is a long-lived wanderer trying to spread love and peace across the land. But he's always surrounded by, and often unwittingly causes, disaster. Though most of the time, his reputation causes all the trouble. But while he is an expert gunman, he doesn't kill, and his determination not to do so causes conflict. Because Vash let a notorious outlaw named Gasback escape during a robbery, the same man is determined years later to descend upon Macca City to avenge a betrayal. Bounty hunters from all around gather in town, hoping to get their chance to claim his hefty bounty at the behest of the town's mayor. The Barnadelli Insurance Agency sends its agents Meryl and Millie to assess the value of the mayor's giant statue and run risk prevention. But as usual, they run into Vash and get caught up in his antics. Meanwhile, while Gasback heads towards town, he picks up a special bodyguard, Nicholas D. Wolfwood, Vash's sometimes travel companion. This partnership puts Vash and Wolfwood at cross purposes.
My contract's complete.
Vash might be a gunman, but he's always tried to preserve life. He owes his belief in the ticket to the future is always open to early in his life and to his caretaker, Rem. Rem instilled in him the preciousness of life. Because of this, and his otherworldly skills, he manages to defuse Gasback's initial conflict with his subordinates without even seriously injuring anyone. But because Gasback is left to escape barely worse for wear, he's able to go on and hurt and rob others for several years. It's clear that Vash internalizes this, feeling somewhat responsible for the path of destruction Gasback has paved throughout the years. He doesn't say this in so many words, but he makes it his responsibility to at least capture Gasback, as he knows he won't be able to kill him due to his ideals.
I can't believe you were the jerk from 20 years ago. Why? Why did you do something like that? You were like that when I met you the first time and you pulled the same crap again at the bar! Is it some kind of religious thing?
No, not at all. But they're all alive right now. Why change that?
Gasback is an interesting antagonist. He has his own set of beliefs. For one, he believes in luck, in the throw of the dice. Second, he believes that life is all about struggle over resources. Third, he believes in doing things in a straightforward fashion, not in a sneaky way, but with flash and pomp, which he deems honesty. He puts all the money he steals into his next big robbery, basically doing things for the thrill. He lives for the robbery itself rather than its gains, and the bigger he can do it, the better. Finally, he believes in never giving anything out, whether it's things or lives. This means he's unlikely to give an inch when he has his mind on something. He's comparable to the show's brilliant Dynamite's Neon, with his own twisted sense of honor. The difference being that Gasback is more vengeful. Amelia is another character introduced just for the movie. She is a reserved, driven, no-nonsense woman. She can't stand direct contact with men, and she rejects all advances, especially Vash's rather pathetic ones. She doesn't like others getting close to her, preferring to concentrate on her life's mission. That is, her mission to kill Gasback. She appears to be a very angry person most of the time. By the end of the movie, she's lightened up just a little, possibly in response to meeting Vash. But a few things bother me about this movie. For one, there's not a whole lot for Vash's usual supporting cast to do. Meryl and Millie can only do so much because they're mostly civilians, but I wouldn't mind seeing them take on some of Gasback's men. But what about poor Wolfwood? Couldn't they have given him a bit more to do while protecting Gasback and fighting Vash to that end? I feel like the plot really had the opportunity to showcase these two powers take on each other in a grand fashion, but there was little more than a skirmish, and then Wolfwood's basically a cameo into the final act. Even when he is in the final act, he feels so detached from the central theme and emotions of the feature, you could hardly care he's there. My question is, why was Wolfwood even in this movie? Just to have more Trigun characters? You could easily have removed him from this movie and have to change very little. Not that I don't enjoy having him around.
You're being a pain in the ass as usual, I see.
What can I do about it? It's my nature to be who I am. I'm the one who threw the die on this one.
And you do have the worst throw in the world.
Another thing that bothered me are the night scenes. Unless the characters are in direct light, I can't see a damn thing. Look at these scenes. Can you tell what's going on? Maybe there's something wrong with my eyes. I hate when media does this. Stop making everything so dark that I can't see what's happening. It's not cool, it's dumb, and it takes away from the experience. And in animation, there's really no excuse. And I don't mean to talk too much about the English dub in a video that isn't a mid or end of year video, but why couldn't they get more of the original English cast back for the dub of this? Don't get me wrong, the replacements are all competent. Meryl and Millie sound almost identical to their TV show counterparts, and Brad Hawkins is a decent stand-in for Jeff Nimoy as Wolfwood. But the anime's dub is kind of a classic. It's great that they got Johnny Young Bosch back for Vash, who else could play him, but it would have been better if more of the original cast reprised their roles. Speaking of voice actors, hey look, Vic Mignogna playing a creep!
Wait, hold on a second. Couldn't hurt you to spend a little time with us. We got a lot to offer. Well...
Oh no! My stupid sling broke again.
Joke pretty much writes itself, doesn't it? Yep. Well, spoiler time. Fast forward to later if you don't want to be spoiled. Amelia turns out to be Gasback's daughter. After leaving her as a child with her mother, their possessions were stolen by thieves and nobody helped them because they were related to an infamous outlaw. When Amelia's mother fell ill, she didn't have the money to get help and nobody would bother seeing her besides which. Because her mother died and she suffered in poverty because of her father's actions, she deeply resents him to the point of wanting him dead. Gasback, for his part, had all but forgotten his family, believing he had left them with money. What he had also left him was a special glove that could counter his special electric attack. In the end, however, Amelia can't bring herself to end Gasback's life, feeling that her mother wouldn't have wanted it. So Amelia, by sparing Gasback's life, also rolls a die, like Vash. And it's revealed that because Vash let Gasback escape years ago, that he was able to meet Amelia's mother to begin with. So Vash's act of mercy bore the fruit that was Amelia. Kind of touching, really. For all his flash and villainy, Gasback did at least one good thing, even if he didn't intend it. And by meeting Vash, Amelia realized she didn't hate her father, at least not enough to want him dead. Vash just has that effect on people.
She didn't have to give all the money to the town, you know? She could have passed me off a bonus or a contingency fee, don't you think?
It's your own fault. You didn't put it in the contract.
You had rights to have that bounty money too, man. Why'd you turn it down?
Because going to the police always leads to trouble somehow. And trust me, you don't want to depend on my wallet.
But I still have to. And
There's nothing particularly groundbreaking about Trigun Badlands Rumble. It plays a lot like a filler episode of the television series, and not even a particularly noteworthy one. But it does contain a lot of what makes Trigun work, with its moral conundrums and ideals meeting harsh realities. More than that, it's a very beautiful, high-budget Trigun episode, with some wonderfully crafted environments, detailed crowd shots, lively character animation, and some solid action. The soundtrack is excellent as well. It's one of those movies where on the one hand you can sort of see why it slipped through the cracks, but on the other hand, you can still enjoy for what it is, a jolly piece of mostly fluff that complements the series. Hey, this was a short video, but what else can you say about the Trigun movie? It's a decent movie, but nothing you could talk about at length. I'm hoping my next subject is, because it's a series I've been meaning to get to for a while. Razafon. Until then, see ya!
Ow! How dare you! How dare you treat Vash the Stampede like this? Do you know my reputation? You'll pay for this!
You kidding? That skinny bonehead? No way! He'd blow away on a stiff breeze!
no way!